Hey everybody, I'm in my TV room. I look like garbage because my body. Everybody was like, it's natural to feel a little sick once you had a big relief after a long period of stress. And I was like, I don't really like Biden that much. I still realize that we have a shitload of work to do. I'm not going to get sick. Cue to me throwing up all night long last night, just sick as a fucking dog. I was so sick, I had to hold on to the door while I was puking, or else I was gonna fall in it. Like, oh my god, I was so dizzy. It was so gross. Anyway, that's why I look like. I would say I look like shit, but actually I feel like I'm kind of rocking it. Like, my hair is kind of nice and, like, big right now. I'm like, whatever. It's happening. This is it. I'm much better now. I'm much better. It was just a one night thing, but I'm seeing a lot of people talking about reconciliation and the idea that now that we've elected Biden, we're going to be able to welcome our Republican family members back into the fold and be there for them, and, you know, understand that they are feeling sad because their guy lost, and even though we are happy that our guy won, it's time for us to be gracious winners and not be mean about it. And here's what I know from my perspective. This is probably a lot of people are saying similar things, so I don't think I'm not unique in this, but I feel like I am fairly unique in my experience and my willingness to talk about my experience. So I've talked about it before. I am an abuse survivor. I grew up in a severely abusive home. I had multiple parents. My family was not good at taking care of itself, taking care of each other, so I had a lot of situations where I had different parents throughout my childhood, and many of them were abusive. At the very least, they were neglectful. At the worst, they were abusive in the highest degrees, in the most heinous ways. And a lot of people, abusive people who had harmed me, done really, really serious physical, emotional, mental, spiritual harm to me, when I grew up, they really wanted me to put this behind us. Forgive and forget. And then they would, and I don't want to carry that burden. I'm ready to forgive and forget, promise, swear to God. And also, that's a part of my recovery process as a survivor, the therapy and the groups that I'm in. That's important for us as survivors, to be able to let go of that anger, the rage and the hatred and everything. My cat's here. I don't know if she'll say hi, but she's just on the other side of the camera. But anyway, you want reconciliation. As a person, as people, we're not meant to be alone. We want reconciliation with the people we love, with the people we care about. As a nation, we want unity. We don't want to be divided. So your good-hearted need for reconciliation is going to get pinged on. Pepper, don't growl at your sister. The cat does this thing where if Pepper's under a blanket, she'll go and stand on top of her head. And that's the only time Pepper gets upset with the cat. But the cat will keep doing it for cat reasons. Anyway, that was just a little bit of insight into our daily lives. We want reconciliation. We want love. We're made physically to love each other. Huh, cat? Yes. Don't fall off the couch. We're made to love each other. And so when someone discounts your humanity in little ways, like voting for a man who hates you, Trump, a racist, violent offender, that will hurt you. And the thing about reunification, the thing about getting back together with that family, is that you have to go through a reconciliation process. You can't just forget. If someone hurts you and you just let it go, That's not love. That's not justice. That is enabling. You're going to let that behavior continue. You're going to show people that they can harm you and there's no consequences to that action. And it's not good for you. It's not good for you. You know, you have just as much prerogative to forgive harmful people, to forgive abusive people, to have, you know, I want to say the word violent, but it's not physical violence. It's a spiritual negation of who you are. It's a spiritual negation of who other people are. Even if you're not gay, even if you're not trans, you're not Latino, you're not black, you're not any of these other things. You're straight, white, cis, Christian, etc. But if you believe that Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter, if you believe you have this value that, sorry, the cat was going to run her head into the camera. If you have this value, you know, that other people's lives matter, that we're all brothers and sisters here on this planet, then you have this family member who negates that by voting for Trump or by being a Trump supporter, by being a conservative in that manner. If you let them back in and you forgive and forget, what you're saying is, it's okay for you to be a hateful, racist, sexist, transphobic person as long as you're not winning. Which is problematic. One, because that person, their values are very different from yours and you need to accept that about them. And two, what you're telling to your family member, this conservative person who's making their own mistakes, who's harming people by their stance, but I'm not talking to them, I'm talking to you. What you're doing is you're telling your family member, I only love you when you're not successful. And that's very unhealthy. What you're telling your family member is, I only love you when I'm stronger than you. I only love you when I can look down on you. And I think it's very hard in this society of black and white, especially for people who haven't been through a recovery journey from their abusive relationships or who've never had the opportunity to have to recover from an abusive relationship. You can love someone, you can respect them, you can wish them the best in their life, and you can still know that their choices hurt you and that you cannot broker that shit in your life. There are people that I love deeply that even to the end of their lives, I never spoke to them again because they insisted on being harmful to other people and to me. And I had to make a choice if it was me or them. And really, this is hard work. This is not a thing I did overnight. This is not a fucking trick or a tip. This took years of therapy, years and years of therapy in my own work. But over the years, I realized that I really wanted the best for them. I really wanted them to thrive. And also I knew that, one, they weren't doing it because they were continuing to hurt others for their own benefit. Two, we would never be able to be together because their values were so different than me. Because they didn't respect other people's lives and they didn't respect their own. And some of that is drug addiction, and some of that is being an abuser, and some of that is being involved in crime, whatever. There are just ways that you can love someone and know that you can't be together with them in this life because of the choices that you've both made. And you and I, the person I'm talking to right now, we've made a choice to bend towards justice. We've made a choice to believe in the value of human lives. We've made a choice to take care of ourselves and others, to live in a world where we can, thank you, Kat, where we can have collective liberation. And that means that we can't broker abusive people. So that's my 2 cents. Say goodbye, Kat.